Grand Slam Australia is officially in the books. So what did everybody think? Did we enjoy the show? After coming off AEW Dynamite, which was a blockbuster show, honestly, with the major title changes that occurred between the TNT champ and the women's champion. Well, I would have to say Grand Slam, I would say, was a success. I definitely enjoyed it a lot. However, there were no title changes, which does not make it a bad show. I was thoroughly entertained. There was great wrestling, as to be expected on an AEW show, especially the scale of an international show, Grand Slam Australia. And everybody that worked tonight definitely delivered, gave it their all. So good show overall, just no surprises. And that's okay. Every show doesn't have to be a surprise, especially when you're coming off your previous show where there were 2 title changes, as I previously said. So the first match tonight, we opened up with Jon Moxley, leader of the Death Riders, going up against Takeshita, defending his Continental Championship. Takeshita came out without Don Callis, and it was contested under Continental Championship rules, so no interference and the 20-minute time limit, which definitely came into play as the match ended with a time limit draw. Now, both these guys, they were back and forth from the very get-go. They were they went for their finishers, countered each one. There was a moment where Jon Moxley went for a suicide dive outside the ring and basically overshot Takeshita, went over his head a bit, but luckily no harm, no foul. Move still looked good, but thankfully no serious injuries or anything like that. Got up, match continued, and I would say definitely a split crowd going back between Jon Moxley and Konosuke. Both were treated as the favorites. Jon resorted to some of his heel type tactics. Not really heel, it's just who he is. There was an eye poke, back rake, biting the head of Konosuke, but this is just what Jon Moxley does. Not so much heel or face, it's just Jon Moxley. Anti-hero, if anything. Beyond that, there was, as the match drew towards the end, Moxley hit devastating stomp on the outside, on the ring apron for Takeshita. Takeshita made it back in, slid in the ring, another stomp, and then from there right into that bulldog choke, and from there into an armbar. So this was right around the 15-minute mark of the match. So the announcement went over 5 minutes remaining. They went back and forth, some stiff shots, back and forth, fired up, big heavy lariats. They both kick out at one with that fighting spirit. Jon Moxley was the second to do that kick out at one. He was firing up like on his knees. Konosuke came up from behind, hit him with that flash knee to the back of the head. 1, 2, late kick out. Then they go back and forth a little bit. Actually, no, Konosuke is picking up Jon Moxley, and the time runs out. Time limit draw. Fans weren't too happy about that. They wanted the match to continue, of course. Jon Moxley and Konosuke both acted like they wanted the match to go forth, and in fact, after a few seconds, started trading blows where Konosuke got the better of the exchange, hit Moxley with the burning hammer, and that was basically that. So I'm sure they'll meet further on down the line because that's not going to settle it. Konosuke does have a win over Jon Moxley in the Continental Classic event, and Jon Moxley, he wants his win back, and that's not really an ending to the match that either one of them would want, nor the fans for that case. So what do you guys think about that? I'm sure you all enjoyed the match, but what exactly are your thoughts? Were you hoping that they would be continuing the match, adding time, making so that there must be a winner I guess for the Continental matches, that doesn't really happen. It's a pretty hard set time limit for the 20 minutes. That's an established thing. So it is what it is, I suppose. But moving on from that, there was a quick video package about the women's title. We got to see Statlander sitting in the backstage area, dejected, bloody face, and all that. And Tekla, being cocky on her side of the video package, just celebrating her win and mocking Stat. But it definitely seemed like Statlander is not just going to go away. She wants blood, and she wants her title back, more importantly. So are you guys thinking that you want to see a rematch, a third match for them, I guess, a rubber match, they each having won once, and Tekla now being the champion? I would imagine they're going to set something up for a revolution, but we'll see, especially with the Sisters of Sin involved. And as we'll discuss later on, or I guess now would be a good time to go into it with Babes of Wrath, who are basically Statlander's backup. They're going to kind of have their hands busy with how their match ended. So the women's tag title match, there was the Babes of Wrath versus MegaBad, so Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. And it was an okay match. Nothing really to write home about or that really blew my mind or anything about that. It was just a solid match. Cameron, she's getting better in the ring. Still not as polished as the other three. And Willow Nightingale is great. And so is Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, because she can hold her own. So anyway, they started off just showing that MegaBad got the title shot in the first case by winning an eliminator match 2 weeks ago. And from there, like I said, basically a straightforward match. One good spot was Penelope hitting the moonsault from the apron to the outside. And then again, she does this matrix moves that she does in the ring where she bends back. Then she went straight into the stunner, hit Cameron with it. And then Bayne came through with her flying clothesline. Then Bayne went to do a suicide dive on Willow. Penelope Ford goes up to the top, tries to hit the moonsault. Nobody's there. Quick backslide, 1, 2, 3, and Penelope Ford loses the match. So, it was okay. The hometown hero got the win, and the Babes of Wrath get to move on and continue their title reign. Now, for myself, I had picked MegaBad to win that because I'm partial to that team. I think Megan Bayne's been around for a while now, and not that she needs a title, but for someone who's supposed to be as dominant as she is, one would think she would have had some success in the title department by now. So I thought the tag titles would definitely be not an easy achievement, but a good first step for her to get into that level in AEW. But it wasn't her time, so I guess we'll see. They did set up for some future matches between the two, because in the end, Lena Cross, an Australian native wrestler, actually came into the ring and attacked Babes of Wrath, helped have MegaBad lay them out, and MegaBad ended up holding up the titles, all three titles, in fact. So Penelope Ford had one tag title, and then Megan Bayne had the other one, plus the TBS title. So maybe in the future here, they're setting up either Megan Bayne to become a tag champion, or maybe Lena Cross and Penelope Ford will team up, and Megan Bayne will go over and challenge for the TBS title. I wouldn't be mad at that. What do you guys think about that idea? Either Megan Bayne sticking in the tag team division, or maybe making a step up and going for a singles challenge of Willow's TBS title. I mean, either way, I would be happy, but definitely, I would definitely be happy either way. And I was actually surprised because they had Lena Cross and Megan Bayne do a bit of a face to face when Babes of Wrath were put down. And Lena Cross is actually bigger than Megan Bayne, who's a big girl in her own right. So that was a little bit surprising. And looks like Penelope Ford, what she did was just calm things down, got in the middle, and then they all celebrated together. So, like I said, just not a overly long match or complicated match, quick and to the point, and then setting something up for the future to keep that going. From there was just a couple more video packages, one having to do with Ricochet threatening Jack Perry, so we'll see from them probably on Dynamite. And then for a video setting up the Hangman Andrade match, which was next. And that one was for the number one contender match at Revolution. So Hangman and Andrade getting advancing to this opportunity by beating Omega a couple of weeks ago when Swerve interfered, trying to help Kenny to prevent the screwdriver being used on him by virtue of course, Don Callis. But it ended up backfiring. Omega lost, which is why Omega and Swerve will have a match coming this Wednesday on Dynamite. Something that I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm sure everyone else is too as well. And to get back to the Hangman Andrade match, solid match, definitely one of the top ones, I would say. What would you guys, how would you rate that match? I'm wondering. For the whole show, I would say it wasn't match of the night, but it was definitely up there. Definitely up there. I would say it's just so hard to try to rank these matches. I might leave that up to you guys. Just throw that in the comment. Let your rankings go. I'm leaning more towards like maybe the TNT title ladder match. That was really good. So is the World Heavyweight match. But we'll go ahead and get to that in a minute. So the Hangman Andrade match that went by pretty quickly too. I don't think it was too long, but they were both hitting hard, going fast at it again in this match. They both went for their finishes early. I didn't quite get them, of course. They both countered. There was a spot where Andrade's been, when he's outside of the ring and has his opponent down, he'll go to ringside and there'll be a lady there asking for a picture with him. So they had that spot happen again. She gave him a kiss on the cheek, and then he got a boot to the face by Hangman for all that time wasting, which should happen when you're fighting someone the level of Hangman, Adam Page. You don't really get to go outside and do all that stuff. So they do the same thing then with Hangman. He gets the lady's phone and he's like, "Do you want a picture?" She gives it. They do the selfie, and then she goes to give him a kiss, and he was like, "No, I'm a married man." So that was a funny take, I thought. The fans got a kick out of it as well. So just a lot of good back and forth. The buckshot towards the end of the match, and Hangman goes for the buckshot lariat, gets countered. Andrade goes for the low blow, but Hangman catches it, hits him with one of his own because Don Callis is up on the apron distracting the ref. So that whole low blow thing backfired. So after the low blow, Hangman goes out, buckshot lariat, 1, 2, 3, match is over. So I thought it was another great match. They both pulled out some great maneuvers. Andrade is so skilled in there. I was kind of surprised because I thought the way that they had been pushing Andrade that he might actually get the win and go on to face the champion at Revolution. But no, they went the other route, and it is going to be Hangman getting his hopeful redemption and having an opportunity to regain his AEW World Heavyweight title. From there, we went to probably, other than the TNT title ladder match, this was the match I was most interested in, and that's the hair versus hair match. So Orange Cassidy and Timeless Tony Storm going up against Yuta and Shafir. For the team, the losing team isn't the one that's getting their heads shaved. Not the whole team, it's just the actual person that's pinned or submitted, which was a good twist, I feel, it just made things different. I would say the risk, it would have been even riskier and maybe higher stakes if it was both members of the team, and it could have caused some dissension between teammates in the match and afterwards. But I like this way too, because there was one point where Shafir was in danger of being pinned by Orange Cassidy after actually getting hit with the beach break. And for a second, Yuta thought, maybe I shouldn't break up this pin, but he did eventually. But that caused a nice little wrinkle to the match. But this was another good match. Yuta actually came out to the ring with Mina's hair, which he had cut on the previous Dynamite. He had it braided into his hair, so that was a nice little touch. And the Death Riders actually didn't get to finish their entrance because Tony Storm and OC met them in the crowd and they started brawling. Yuta ended up delivering a pile driver to Tony Storm, like not even 5 minutes into the match, while they were fighting in the crowd on some like crates out on the floor. Then there was a spot where Marina was dancing with OC, kind of mocking what he does with Tony Storm. This was after he was getting double teamed, because after that pile driver to Tony Storm, she got taken backstage by Luther, her butler / handler / manager, whatever his exact role is. And as Marina was dancing with OC, it sounds silly to say, but if you're watching, you know what's going on. And Tony comes back out, hits Yuta with a kick to the groin, and comes back in and takes Marina Shafir to Suplex City, basically. Then that's when OC hit Shafir with that beach break and went for the pin, and Yuta had to think about it for a second if he wanted to let the match continue and potentially him lose his hair, or to break it up. So he did break it up, and then before you know it, both OC and Yuta are in submissions simultaneously, but they both get out of it. Then Yuta, that guy, he hits Tony Storm with the Psycho knee, which was insane to see because he hit it perfectly. Then Shafir is holding up OC, and he goes for the knee again. OC, of course, moves out of the way, and Shafir eats it. So both of them laid out Tony and Shafir with that Psycho knee. From there, things got a little crazy. There's Tony hits Yuta with a German suplex. He goes into the corner, eats the hip attack, gets up, orange punch, Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. Game over. It's time for Yuta to get his head shaved. So Mina comes out, brings the barber's stool, and Yuta's like, you know what, forget this. I'm going to go to the back. I'll shave my own head, okay? You guys won. I'll go ahead with it, but I'm doing it myself. I'm not doing it here in the ring with you guys. And he goes out into the crowd, and of all people, Jon Moxley comes, and he's like, no. This is the match. You guys You guys agreed to it. You're going to honor it. You're going to do it. So Yuta goes back in the ring. John Moxley's in the ring as well watching. Marina takes his hand and is there kneeling next to him, holding his hand as he gets his hair cut by Tony, by OC, by Luther, by Marina. And he got it done. It was definitely a look. So I guess he will be sporting the full bald cut. They didn't complete the job. They just, made him look crazy out there, half shaved, half long. And yeah, that was it. We'll see the completed result either on Dynamite, I'm sure on Dynamite, and moving forward. So that will be a new look for the Death Riders. But I did like that John Moxley, was honorable and it was like, nah, you agreed to it. We're going to get it done. So just, a fun match with some good action, something light, and to make the crowd go home happy. Because really, that might have been almost like a match of the night, honestly. And I was really looking forward to it, and it didn't disappoint. From there, we had the ladder match. The protostar Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. This is their 7th match. They each had won 3 apiece. So this was the tiebreaker ladder match for the TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher defending after winning it this past Wednesday on Dynamite, taking it from Tommaso Ciampa. And as to be expected, they start out hot. And Mark Briscoe is just wearing out Kyle Fletcher to start with. Man, they were doing some crazy stuff. There was a half and half suplex by Fletcher on Briscoe on the outside. Looked brutal. Then there was, Mark Briscoe, goes to the top of the ladder on the outside. Kyle Fletcher, choke slam, tosses him. He hits the top rope, hits the apron, hits the floor. Kyle Fletcher goes to the top, moonsault from the ladder onto the floor. I mean, it was insane. They both got busted open. Briscoe first, when Fletcher had Briscoe up on his shoulders and just battering rammed him headfirst into a ladder that was laying on the top rope. But that's basically how the match was going back and forth. Just a bloody mess. People going through ladders left and right. Fletcher got put through a ladder via a froggy bow from the top of a ladder to laying down on a ladder. Kyle Fletcher. It was insane. Kyle Fletcher gave a Liger bomb to Briscoe, put him through ladder as well. I mean, it got brutal to the end. I think the worst one, well, no. There were 2 really, really bad spots. One was the J driller from the second rope through a ladder that was set up in the corner and in another ladder. And I think the most brutal one was when Kyle Fletcher, when we're both at the top of the ladder fighting, trying to get the title, and Kyle hit his brain buster DDT from the top of the ladder. That looked so brutal. They showed the replay 4 times, and I was like, good Lord. Forget about it. But great match as to be expected. Yeah, and I mean, it ended when they were on the ladders, had the ladders side by side, and they were trading blows. Kyle Fletcher pushes Briscoe. He falls on the rope and actually pulls the title down, and that's the end of that. Kyle Fletcher retains. So I was expecting this to be a show stealer, And it was, I don't know if it was their best match of the series. I want to say that it was, but it was definitely great. I just don't know if it was the best one. But they definitely did some things that you didn't see before. So they pulled out all the stops, I'll say, that match, for it being their seventh and most likely final battle, at least for the foreseeable future. They definitely went all out and did what they needed to do. I was personally pulling for Briscoe. I figured if I had to pick that Kyle Fletcher would win, but you know, I'm in my Mark Briscoe shirt, so you can see who I was pulling for there. And then after that was time for the main event, and this one I picked along with everybody else that MJF was more than likely going to be the victor, and that did indeed turn out to be true. No shocker there. Brody King, he did well, and I guess the win for him was that he got to be in the main event against MJF for the world title, and he got to hang in there, came close to winning. He hit that Gonzo bomb, and I thought he did really well, which was to be expected, again, because Brody King knows what he's doing in there. And it wasn't like it was just him being a monster and dominating. There were moments when he was doing that, but he also had to fight from the bottom for quite a lot of the match, because the way they had it worked was that, he hurt his knee on his cannonball in the corner attempt, and MJF was just zeroing in on it throughout the match. So it even, when it came down towards the end of it, it was because after being injured for most of the match and MJF going back to it repeatedly, towards the end, he actually pulled the knee brace and all of that off and exposed the knee, was biting his knee, punching his knee. He did everything he could to further aggravate the knee. So I like that story that they told. I like the fact that there was a point when Brody King was about done. He was in a sleeper hold, about ready to pass out. Then Bandito, his old tag team partner, who was tag team champs with for quite a while, came out and started giving him the never give up, because that was what Brody King would tell Bandito. That was part of their thing. Kind of reminiscent of John Cena. But in this event, Brody did not give up, unlike with Cena. So that was good. His hand did not go down. He did not give a wink and a smile. He, in fact, got up and kept fighting. Fought valiantly, still lost. So, I wonder if that was a little wink to the competition. But either way, during the match, like I said, great storytelling with the Brody King injury, and MJF doing everything he could to try to win, including trying to go to use that diamond ring of his. Yeah, but Ginsburg was the referee, and he's come across that many a time with MJF, so he caught it, stopped it, and Brody was able to take advantage of that, and that's how he ended up getting him into that Gonzo bomb eventually. It was actually a choke out on the apron. MJF fell down outside the ring. Brody King goes out, throws him back in, hits him with the Gonzo bomb. But kick out. I think Excalibur was saying that's the first time anyone's kicked out of the Gonzo bomb. And I would have to agree, because I don't remember anybody kicking out of that before. But Brody, that is, has never been in this situation before either, a world title main event spot. So that's what happens when you're in there with like an MJF. Your move is not so sacred that it cannot be kicked out of. So that was it. That was then when MJF said what I referred to earlier. He exposed the knee, was biting the knee, hitting it, punching it, got him back in the ring. Well, right before he got him in the ring, he went to hit him with like a tombstone pile driver on the apron. It was a little shaky. But rather than drop him on his head, he just went down and almost like power slammed him on his back. Then from there, he did the heat seeker to get him into the ring, and 1, 2, 3. That was all she wrote. So it was a clean victory, even though he did try to cheat, but he got him. 1, 2, 3. Brody King, nice long match, really good action. And now that I think about it and go through it in my head, I would have to say that I would vote this one match of the night for just the complete work that they did, the storytelling, the ring work, all of it. It was well done. Good for Brody for being in that situation and for handling it and performing the way he did. And hopefully he'll get more chances in the future as well. Now, at the end of it, there was a Hangman sighting. He did come out to the ring, and he came out with the contract for Revolution. So he signed it, shoved it at MJF, then went to hit him. MJF flinched and fell back, and that was how the night ended. So pretty good, I would have to say. A good, successful show all around. No, like I said to begin, no big surprises, nothing earth-shattering, but good quality championship matches, great talent on the card, great wrestling, great matches, and just furthering of the storylines. I'm sure we'll see more of Mox and Takeshita. We'll see more of Babes of Wrath and MegaBad. And then now we know what the main event for Revolution is. We've got Hangman challenging MJF. So that is a big rivalry, and I'm not sure who's going to win that. I'm not sure if Hangman's going to be able to reclaim that title that quickly, if MJF is going to relinquish it that quickly. So I'm going to definitely be looking in the comment section to see what you guys think about that. Because personally, I don't think MJF is giving up that title anytime soon. So all in all, good show. And moving on from here. Oh, how could I forget? There was being in Australia, I had to see a kangaroo kick. And of course, that had to come at the poor expense of Brody King. Another kangaroo kick. Wow. But I'll leave it on that note. We do have Dynamite coming up. Got Omega versus Swerve, Brawling Birds debut, and Paige and MJF set to face off. That was all that they announced for Dynamite so far. So that's what we have to look forward to. So let me know what you guys thought of the show in the comments, and I'll be happy to get back with you on that. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, all of that. And thanks again for joining me. I hope we all have a great rest of your day or night, and I will be talking to you soon. Thank you.